We are back now with The Upside and an inside look into a popular book series I cannot stop crowing about. Savannah actually gifted me the first book in this series a few years ago. I just loved it. It's part humor, part science, and honestly, it's really a little tough to describe. So I got to meet up with the author for a conversation and a bit of bird watching in Central Park as he hatches his latest in the series.
Birding and bird watching and really any branch of science can often feel really serious to people, and I just wanted to have fun with it.
Author Matt Kracht's book series has all the hallmarks of a classic wildlife field guide. But what's got folks a-Twitter is some of his more colorful commentary. The weak-bellied geek pudgeon, the blastrich, the black-necked dweeb. Titled The Field Guide to Dumb Birds. These handbooks combine real information about a variety of bird species with a lot of snarky humor.
Like other mockingbirds, this one is an insufferable show-off, constantly mimicking other species just because it can.
Your book is an interesting take on birds. Do you, in fact, dislike birds?
I don't. I actually think birds are amazing.
What is your bird origin story?
I had an incredible fourth grade teacher. She assigned us a bird report. I got the golden-crowned kinglet, which was a terrible bird to give a fourth grader because, well, they're about the size of your thumb, and they mostly stay way up in the canopy.
So hard to find.
Hard to find, and I never saw one. Flash forward many decades, and I was walking along the water with my wife in Seattle, and I happened to spot that bird, and it just wouldn't stop hopping around, and I couldn't get a single clear picture of it.
At the time, Matt was working in design and marketing, but he couldn't stop thinking about being foiled by the same bird again.
I was at work, I doodled a little picture of this bird, and a friend of mine, a colleague, laughed at it and said, "I love the drawing, but it looks like you were angry when you did it." And that is how we came up with the idea of, wouldn't it be funny if some guy studied birds because he hated them, not because he loved them.
He started posting more drawings and observations as the angry bird guy on a blog. And the right guy saw it.
My literary agent approached me and said, "Do you have representation? This is really funny. It needs to be a book."
The first field guide was published in 2019, becoming a national bestseller, followed by a hit sequel 2 years later. Well, now Matt's out with the third in the series titled Worst Birds Ever, writing and drawing becoming his full-time job. Were you worried about what the reaction from bird lovers was going to be?
Yeah, initially I thought I would be tarred and feathered, probably.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Well, pun is intended. In fact, what happened was the biggest fans were ornithologists and science students, and I think maybe it resonated because they're aware of how kind of serious people can be, and it was fun for somebody to kind of play with that and make fun of that a little bit. And the only complaints I really ever get are about the language.
The language of both the insulting names Matt gives the birds and some of his descriptions can be pretty foul. Some we can't even show you. But the books aren't just for the birds.
I go pretty deep. I do a lot of research. I read scientific papers. I will find something about that bird that I probably think is fascinating, but I think that this character would find infuriating.
So Matt, we're here in Central Park. There are more than 200 different types of birds here. What are these birds here that we see?
I think that might be an eastern goldfinch. It's the state bird of New Jersey, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So these guys are out of town.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had to deal with the congestion pricing. What about the Philadelphia eagle?
That's a good one.
You're becoming known as the bird guy. Is that a sobriquet you're pleased with, or is it something that you're just kind of stuck with?
I think I'm stuck with it. Like the names that I give the birds, I think it's probably fair.
Man, that was fascinating.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's very low-key, but he's hilarious. I mean, I just love it. And he's going to be writing more books, not limiting himself to just birds. He's already released a terrific spin-off book about bees. I mean, he loves bees. Very impressed with the bees, including he's got a category called murder bees.
Murder bees.
Yeah, they just go out killing other bees.
Okay. So he writes about the birds and the bees.
Exactly. Set you up there, huh?
Yeah,
you like that?
That was a little too easy.
That was great. It's one of those things where if you think about it in terms of conceptually, you're like, that would never work. And then you see it, you're like, that's genius.
And it's great gift giving, but make sure people you give it to are prepared for some of the language.
And Savannah knows that your humor is dark.
Oh, well, dark?
Well, I mean, you would appreciate a book like that.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Just only slightly profane.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.